This is Birmingham News. Coming up, bin collections resume after 3 months of strike action has been suspended. A new arts trail has launched in Handsworth Park, showcasing the work of local artists as part of a 3-year project. And we're going into the canals of Birmingham as one lady kayaks from London all the way to Brum. It's your news for Birmingham and the West Midlands. Hello again. A Birmingham man who was convicted of a terrorism offence after potentially lethal bomb-making equipment was found at his home has been jailed for life. 29-year-old Zahid Hussain from Alum Rock was arrested in 2015 after he was found to be carrying a knife and crowbar as well as handwritten notes detailing instructions for devices. He'd made repeated visits to a section of the West Coast Main Line, which the prosecution said was to research a possible attack. When police searched his house, they discovered he'd constructed a homemade pressure cooker device filled with shrapnel and adapted Christmas tree lights in an attempt to construct an improvised explosive device. After 3 months of bin strikes and rubbish piling up on the streets of Birmingham, bin collections have now resumed and are getting back to normal after refuse workers suspended their strike. Birmingham City Council says crews are back out on their routes to begin clearing the backlog, and residents are being asked to separate household rubbish, recycling and garden waste as normal. Olivia Marks reports.
The day many local residents have been waiting for. After 3 rather smelly, messy months of strikes over job losses, bin workers are back to making regular collections.
Relieved, actually, yeah. It's been a bit of a pain. I understand why they did it, but it's nice to know we can get our rubbish collected now.
Now they started back, it should be all right, but I think some people went over the top with it myself. I think it could have been finished after time.
We've had to keep our eyes on the council website every couple of days, and they've been very good in all fairness. They've kept the website well up to date and they've kept us informed, but it's very nice to have the collections back.
But this doesn't mean the dispute is over. In September, the High Court granted an interim injunction against the council's bid to make certain Grade 3 workers redundant. And in November, there'll be a trial to determine whether the council acted unlawfully in issuing these redundancy notices. The council want to modernise the service and save money, but the strike cost the council around £300,000 a week, and there's now plenty of backlog to clear.
Everybody's been really patient and helped us through those particularly difficult times, and we're hoping that the collections will get back to ordinary as quickly as possible. But ACAS are working with the council and the unions to come up with, hopefully, a settlement before we even go back to court. So that's what we want to do. We want to resolve this resolution as quickly as possible and get back to what we was good at, and that's collecting bins.
But for some locals, it's simply not enough. Over 13,000 people have signed a petition calling for a partial council tax refund, and Ray Egan over here wants free pest control.
I've lived in my house for 50 years, I've never seen a rat. And I've seen them scurrying at the bottom of our street. I'm calling it today Operation Ratatouille.
So the streets of Birmingham will be cleared, but the messy battle between the council and refuse workers is set to be resolved in court. Olivia Marks, Birmingham News.
A new project showcasing the work of local arts outdoors has launched in Handsworth Park. The Handsworth Art Trail is funded by Birmingham City Council and Arts Council England. The idea is that each year 2 pieces of public art are being commissioned, and that's over the course of the next 3 years. Birmingham News spoke to some of the artists.
We did a temporary one in 2015, and due to the success of that, we were able to obtain some Arts Council money and some City Council money to do a permanent one. And each year we're going to have 2 new pieces commissioned. It's by an open call to go in the different parts of the park. So this year we have Luke Perry, who's an artist based in the Black Country, and there's my piece, because I'm also one of the lead artists. There's my piece, which is the Pyramid Tower. It's over on the other side of the bridge. Most regions have an arts trail, and we just felt that it would be nice for Handsworth Park to have an arts trail. It's used quite a lot by the local community, and since the regeneration a few years ago, there's a lot of activity that takes place in the park, and we also have Friends of Handsworth Park that's also, managed quite a few projects. We've got the community garden at the top as well.
Within parks, if you walk your dog or if you've got kids, whatever happens, you've got a natural place that you go to. You don't necessarily move around, but the trail gives it a circulation so that people discover new parts of that park. And the importance of the piece, I think, for me, is at a time when there's a lot going on politically in the UK, to be able to make a piece which is celebrating essentially immigration it's really important, because there's not a lot that celebrates the value that multiculturalism gives to the UK. And this was the perfect place to do it.
Art is just a brilliant way of artists communicating with local people. The environment itself is really used by the wider community, and I think it's a perfect venue for having trails, art trails, sculptural pieces such as these.
In other news, a pig that gored a woman when it escaped from a neighbour's garden has found a new home in an animal sanctuary in Worcestershire. Hammy, the 4-year-old male pig, attacked Marie Yates after breaking into her garden in Darlaston, and she was taken to hospital where she required stitches. Hammy's owners originally took him in thinking he was going to be a micro pig, which had become popular as pets over the past few years. Staff at the Good Heart Animal Sanctuary said that they felt Hammy had been misunderstood, warning people to think again about having a pig as a pet. You're watching Birmingham News here on Made in Birmingham. Thanks very much for joining us today. Now, coming up a little later on, it's our entertainment show, The Lowdown, so let's have a quick preview from Taffy, George and Erin.
Hello, join us in just a bit for the lowdown right here on Made in Birmingham TV. We're on this sofa. We are going to have a vocal coach from the Stars, Evie Burnett. You'll recognise her face from the telly, The Voice, The X Factor, and Sam Smith as well. She's going to be right here.
Incredible. Then ahead of the 15th of October with the Great Run, we wanted to catch up with Prem Akhiramidzi as he talks to us about his great t-shirt that he has designed.
And we'll also be finding out which radio presenter kayaked from London to Birmingham.
That's all to come in just a bit here on the lowdown. Do not miss it.
And now we're heading down to the canals of Birmingham. It's not for history, but for kayaking, and a monumental effort to raise money by Heart Breakfast's Gemma Hill. With more information, here's Hayden Atkins.
Putting yourself through vast amounts of pain to raise money for charity. That's exactly what Heart Breakfast's Gemma Hill has been doing over the past week. A mammoth 150-mile kayak trip concluded on Friday at the James Brindley in Birmingham after it was announced that Gemma had raised in excess of £50,000 for charity. The gruelling kayak challenge wasn't without its difficulties though, and presenters Gemma and Ed told us all about it.
Truthfully, it's been absolutely awful. I think it's been the longest 5 days of my life and the hardest 5 days of my life, and 100%, when we signed up for it, I don't think we really realised what it was. I definitely didn't. I'm quite fit, and I don't mind a challenge, so I thought, how hard can that be? And on day one, after 27 miles on a windy day with broken paddles in the middle of London, I thought, what the heck have I done? And then every day was a disaster. So, and my body's broken, like the physical limits that you have to push yourself to.
Well, she's just incredible. I mean, what you've done, we've just blown us all away. As you said, we knew it would be hard, but we didn't know it would be this hard. And how you've done it, I don't know, because I know what state you were in on Tuesday. And you were pretty much done, I think, then, and you were in pain, every part of you hurt. And genuinely, we thought, it's done. We thought, she's had a good go at it, we've raised some money, but it's over now. And where you got that strength from, I don't know. How you dug deep and carried on, I don't know. But she did, and it's just awesome. So fair play to you.
Also part of the fundraising were the charities that will benefit from Gemma's efforts, including the Retinoblastoma Childhood Eye Cancer Trust. We spoke to Chief Executive Patrick Tonks and charity patron and Paralympian Darren Harris about the charity.
The two most commonly reported symptoms are something called white eye, where instead of a red eye, for example, in a photograph taken with a flash, it's a white reflection. So that's the most widely reported sign or symptom, and the other is a squint. And both of those may not be retinoblastoma, but if you see something like that and you're at all concerned, then our advice is just to go to your GP or healthcare professional and get it checked out.
I would always say that life goes on, or whatever challenges are thrown at us. We were very good at finding a way. I think Gemma's really demonstrated that. I mean, she's already said that at times she didn't think she'd be able to carry on, but the human mind is incredible when put under extreme pressure. That generally we will always find a way to come through it, even though it might seem at the time that there isn't a way out.
It's clear that Gemma's fantastic efforts will make a huge difference to the lives of many around the country. No mean feat at all, and despite the emotion, a job well done. This is Hayden Atkins for Birmingham News.
This is Birmingham News. Still to come, we'll have the latest sports news from Sasha, and we'll be talking to Tom Ross ahead of the next edition of Sportsline. Plus, we'll be looking back on a Dudley sporting legend. All that and more when we come back. Stay with us. Hello again and welcome back to Birmingham News. And straight away, let's cross over to Sasha Shipway for the latest sports news.
Thanks, Lee. Well, our local karate hero, Connie May Cartwright, who took part in the Bonsai Cup at the weekend, won gold. Here's how she got into the sport.
My mum and dad took me and I was 7 years old.
7 years old, and now how old are you?
9.
And what was it like that very first session? Tell me how you felt when you kind of first gave it a go.
I felt really scared and I wouldn't go into the class until someone came up to me and took me into the session.
Wow, and now how do you feel when you train?
I just feel fine and because I'm with all my friends.
That's great. And what's it like for you when you very first saw her, kind of when you first coached her?
With Con, when she came to me when she was 7, I could tell within the first couple of weeks really that she had a considerable amount of talent, and it was just sort of harnessing that talent. She'd already done gymnastics at a young age, so that really helped with flexibility, taking orders, that sort of thing, and it was just sort of teaching her the moves and making sure that we worked upon that, but since we've gone to the next stage, we can see that she can go really, really far in karate, and we believe that she's got a really big future ahead of her.
And from karate to powerlifting, could you imagine taking up a sport at 30 years old and becoming a world champion at 31? Well, that's exactly what Amy Smith has done. Here's more on her story.
I moved to Birmingham about 18 months ago, so I thought going to the gym would be a good way to meet people. This was one of the favourite gyms that I found, and when I came here I absolutely loved the atmosphere, and then ended up joining the introduction to weightlifting, because I'd never really lifted weights, maybe squatted a little bit, but nothing heavy, and then absolutely loved it. And then after doing it for a short while, one of the trainers here, Anthony Rogan, said, well, I think we should get you powerlifting and competing. So I did. And then I didn't expect to do as well as I have, and then ended up getting not only invited to the British finals, also the World Championships to represent GB.
And tell us a little bit about those competitions, how you got on and how it was sort of diving straight into it, almost as a beginner really.
Oh, literally. The qualifiers turned up. I had no idea what I was doing, the rules, the commands, all that sort of thing. So just sort of basically winged it, but managed to do all right. And then at the British, again, I just didn't expect it to go that far really, and then ended up I came first in my category in the qualifiers, which then led me to be invited to, I would have come top 3 overall, so that's how I got invited to the World. And then I came 3rd in full power, 1st in deadlift, and then 3rd out of all the women that competed based on weight to what they lifted ratio.
What's in the future for you?
Well, I've got to go back. Well, I haven't got to. I've been invited back to the Worlds next year to defend my title. I've been invited to the European Championships. I think that's in Bosnia. I'm just going to keep going. Maybe break a world record.
That'd be fab. And what about, someone might be watching this and might be thinking, do you know what, I really fancy having a go at that. I'm not ridiculously big, or I'm a female perhaps, or I'm young or I'm older. What would your words of not wisdom, B, but your words of encouragement?
Just go for it. There's a teen option, there's juniors, there's all different weight categories, so it really doesn't matter how big you are. If you're strong, you're strong. So I'd recommend get yourself down to the gym, this one if you're in the area, and just try it out.
In rugby, both Wasps and Warriors lost their games at the weekend. Wasps played away against Saracens, losing 38-19. Meanwhile, Warriors are yet to win a game as they lost to Bath 29-13. And that's all for your sport. Back to Lee.
Thanks very much, Sasha. Now, many of you will recognise his face on our weekly programme Sportsline, and after 35 years of covering sport across the West Midlands, Tom Ross has been awarded for his work, receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Birmingham Awards. Tom spoke to our reporter Hayden Atkins about what the award actually means to him.
So we're here on the Sportsline set with our very own Tom Ross, who obviously presents the show with us. Tom, tell us what you've got in front of you, and tell us what you've been up to the last few days.
Well, I was asked to go to a dinner at Edgbaston, the Birmingham Awards dinner. I think 600 or 700 people were there, and I was surprised to find out that I'd got a Lifetime Achievement Award for contribution to the city of Birmingham, which has humbled me and made me feel very proud, because it's all I'm doing is a job. Luckily, it's a job where you know people hear you and all the rest of it, but. It's nice to feel that you may have touched somebody's life in a small way over the years that they've grown up listening to football in the Midlands. But you know, I've had a few of these, if I'm honest. But to get one from in your own city matters. That matters. I'm a proud Brummie, and that matters a lot to me. And I was really touched by it, if I'm honest.
And I think you're very
not worthy of people should be getting.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky to do what you do. The face of football, the voice of football in the Midlands.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I say fortunate, but I've worked harder than anybody else, and that's always helped me. And that's the only advice I would say to anybody who wants to win anything is, there's no shortcuts to success. You got to work hard, show passion, enthusiasm, and everything else. And the rewards will come. You don't have to go looking for trophies, they come if you work hard and show that desire and passion and commitment.
And you can catch Tom on Sportsline Monday evenings at 7 and Tuesday afternoons at 5. So then, it's certainly feeling a little colder out there, isn't it? Are we going to be needing our thicker coats anytime soon? Well, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the West Midlands now over the next couple of days.
Hello there. Across the UK for Tuesday, we're looking at a relatively mild start followed by patches of cloud. For Birmingham and the West Midlands, as we can see, a lot of built-up cloud, possibly becoming overcast, not quite the bright start, and with winds coming from the southwest at 16 miles per hour. Moving into the afternoon, we can see these quite mild highs now reaching around 16 degrees Celsius, 17 to the south of the map, so slightly warmer than last week where we got down to the low teens most days. Clouds lightening up for the afternoon and for the evening and keeping light overnight. Temperature-wise, it's quite mixed from 10 p.m. onwards, so expect around 14 or 15 degrees, but down to 10 or 11 in some places. Then for Wednesday, brighter with some light cloud coverage, and actually we could start to see the odd shower across the area with highs of around 15 degrees Celsius. Now, if you at home are a keen photographer and would like to show off your images here in the forecast, and send your pictures to weather@madeinbirmingham.tv. The outlook then, pretty similar conditions ahead with light cloud and sunny intervals for most, and temperatures keeping in the mid to late teens.
And finally, the beginning of October marks the birthday of former Manchester United and England footballer Duncan Edwards, who was sadly killed in the Munich air crash in 1957. Duncan grew up in Dudley, and October 2016 would have been his 80th birthday. To mark the occasion, 1 year ago this week, a special plaque was unveiled. Priory Park in Dudley was the setting to commemorate Duncan Edwards' 80th birthday in October 2016. Bobby Charlton, who played alongside Duncan Edwards, unveiled a plaque overlooking the playing fields where Duncan Edwards played football as a youngster.
Sir Bobby said that Duncan Edwards was the only player who made him feel inferior. That's the man we're remembering today. And I want to say this to all the young people from Dudley here today as well. Remember this, he grew up just round the corner in Elm Road. He went to Priory School like lots of you. He played football in this park. And what he shows you is that we, from Dudley, we're as good as anyone in the world. And he shows that with the right encouragement and the right support, and if you work as hard as you can and you strive every day to be the very best you can be, then the sky really is the limit and you can achieve anything you want.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. As a youngster, Duncan Edwards, born in Woodside before moving to Elm Road on the Priory estate, certainly made an impression, becoming the youngest person ever to play for England. The plaque shows a quote from one of his school teachers in 1947, which says, "I've just seen a boy of 11 who will play for England one day." And it didn't take very long for that prediction to come true. He began his international career with England schoolboys just 2 years later, progressing to the full England team in the early 1950s. Today's youngsters are impressed by the role model from their estate. They were also impressed that an England legend, Bobby Charlton, had played with the local lad and had come along to unveil the plaque to his old friend.
Because he was a great player and he played for England so many times and he played with Duncan Edwards, and that's brilliant.
It's special to me because he's just an absolute all-time legend and a Man United great. He used to come, he play over the park, and he lives just down the road over there, and he plays for Man United, and he loved football.
Duncan Edwards, one of the Busby babes, remembered this time last year in Priory Park, Dudley. And of course this week marks another special birthday. Sir Bobby Charlton will be 80 years old himself on Wednesday. A very happy birthday to him. And so that's it from me and the team here at Birmingham News. But remember, you can always get in touch with us. Our email address is news@madeinbirmingham.tv. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye bye for now.